is the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. And this morning, we're going to look at Zoom and a simple way to create a virtual background. My friend Bill Graham will share his discoveries with us. My name is Lowell Ann, and in my coaching and consulting business, I help solopreneurs stay focused and motivated as we take their business to the next level with some simple structure and some pretty easy technology. We'll be right back after this. Greetings wherever you are, and welcome to Being Your Own CEO. This is a weekly success circle intended as a support to solopreneurs. We get together because we enjoy each other's company, but we also like exchanging ideas and information, and we seem to be doing a lot of experimenting these days. We all give and receive support. You can discover what we stand for by reviewing the operating principles on this page. I want to welcome our viewers and invite them to check in by telling us what they do in the comments section off to the right. And now it's time for the members of the panel to introduce themselves. Please briefly tell us your name and where you are and what you do, and be sure to share something that you're excited about.
My name is Bill Graham. I'm coming to you this morning from Belize, where I come to you from every day. My website is billdoesbelize.com. I use that website to share unbiased information, or what I refer to as the unbelievable truth, with other people that are thinking about becoming expats and moving to Belize. And the thing I'm really excited about is Zoom. I love Zoom, and I'm really happy to be able to share some of what I've learned about Zoom with everybody here and out in the audience, and of course the people that come in replay.
Right on. So thank you very much for your support and watching and reminding me as well.
My pleasure.
I need that. So, Alana, how about you? How would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm trying to get to know the little buttons myself. Hello, everyone. My name is Alana Birmingham, coming to you from Ireland, where I've been living the past 20 years. My website is emptynester.blog.com, where I teach and help people who are empty nesters make a living online. I am also a virtual assistant. It's my other job. And my good news is I went to a networking group today and have 2 possibly new potential clients. So I'm thrilled with that.
Wow.
Thank you. I'm very happy. I'm hoping it pays off. I'm hoping it comes through. So we'll see. But yeah, it's exciting days, days.
Oh, that's good. Oh, it's always nice to start off with a good news story. So thank you for that. So the next person in the configuration that I'm looking at is Fred, and you're home again. Welcome back, and tell us what you're doing.
Yes, thank you, Lowell Ann. First of all, hopefully you can hear me. Just want to double check.
Yes.
I'm not talking to a blank microphone. My name's Fred Jones. I'm back in Victoria, British Columbia, on Vancouver Island, west coast of Canada. Just arrived back from 2 months in Australia. I did some work down there as well as visiting my family, or my daughter and her family. And the work I do is with Our Future Leaders, where I assist young people to learn how to communicate and get self-confidence doing so, and helping them for the future that they're about to face, which is a lot more dynamic than any future that we ever faced in our age. So that, and what I'm excited about is, whilst I was away, I contacted homeschooled families in Victoria area, and I have 8 families and their children who want to do online. And that's why I'm doing these particular sessions, because I'm learning Google Hangouts and now Zoom to see what platforms we can use for these young people. But it's very exciting. The reason homeschool is because after looking, I've been working with young people for over a decade. And then I go back in my mind and I realize that homeschoolers really are one of my most successful areas. I've had a lot of success with homeschool young people. So I should aim at them as far as the online as well. So I'm very excited about what I'm going to do in this coming month of February.
Ah, that's exciting. Wow. So welcome home. Welcome home.
Thank you. The weather's a little bit different. It was up to 44 degrees centigrade in Melbourne last week. Although the weather there changes every day, unlike here, where when it decides to rain, it's been raining, I believe. Well, I've only been back a few days, but it hasn't stopped really raining on and off since I'm back.
Well, we did have a sort of a week where we had nice days, but that's a couple of weeks ago. So.
Well, looking out the window here, it's not raining, and it's lightened up. It's not that dark overcast that it's been like for the past few days. So who knows? Maybe we'll get some nice days too.
Hope. Well, we will eventually.
Oh, we always will. Yes,
we always do. Okay.
Right. Pleasure to be back, and I'm looking forward to seeing more about Zoom. Thank you.
Right on. Vivek, how about you? Nice to see you again here, live and in person, rather than commenting.
Yeah, namaste. Yeah, my name is Vivek, and I have a small company called as waketechnology.com. I hope you can see my what's called as virtual background, which is what we are going to explore further today. My computer did warn me that Zoom itself considers my computer to be not so powerful enough, but there was a button which said use it anyway, and I clicked that, and I'm here. So taking risks.
I love that concept. Just try it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh dear, that's funny. So welcome here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's see, who else have I got? Arthur, how about you? Welcome here. Are you going to introduce yourself? Oh, there.
Yeah, I just had to switch my microphone on. Yeah, I'm Arthur Moorhead. I am a fine artist, muralist, and I am trying to get some online teaching going on for classes. I have such a variety of stuff that I know that I've learned over the last 40 years that I've opened up a membership site that has all kinds of forums and stuff that people can join, and hopefully I'll get my first online art class going by next week. And it's kind of a bit of a pain here, but I'm getting there.
Right on. I'm happy to hear that. So Heidi, I think I missed you. Are you still there?
I'm still there, and you didn't miss me. You called me just now.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I'm looking at my my little film strip, and
Okay.
it only shows so many people on there, and I went, where did she go?
Yeah, I'm Heidi, and I'm in Italy, and it's already dark outside. And I'm doing mainly live podcasts so far on Google Hangout and Webinar Jam, and you can see them on the wisdomfactory.net. And I begin now a new series on Sunday, and then it will always be on Thursday, on conscious aging. And at the end of this, we will have a panel discussion. And so far already 7 or 8 people have said they would be coming, and I'm still waiting. So I actually need to learn the OBS thing and Zoom to be able to accommodate all the panel members for that event, which is in the end of April. So I really hope to learn. Thank you.
Well, you have time, Heidi. So I see there's a little arrow button there, and I can't tell whether there's anybody else here or not. I think I'm seeing everyone.
Well, you missed Roland. Roland's way off to the right, out in cyberspace.
Oh, and yeah, isn't no? There's the interesting piece. There you are, Roland. Now I can see you.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself, please.
It's weird. I was looking for Heidi, and she was on, and I'm not used to the movement. So, hi. Thank you for introducing me. My name is Roland from MinMax Media, bringing you the minimum you need for maximum impact. And the good news is 3 years ago, I couldn't say that name. No. I was really surprised to hear it's so hot where Fred is. If you don't know, 44 degrees centigrade is like 109 or 110 or it's hot. So I'm sorry you're dealing with that heat. I'm coming to you from Southern California, where it's not so sunny today. And the good news for me is that we launched our maiden voyage for Stroke Talk TV on stroketv.net. Well, not on stroketv.net, but in Facebook Live. We launched our first show and had our first Facebook Stroke Talk Q&A last Friday, and we're going to be continuing on every Friday.
Oh, right on. Cool. So now, is it possible for us to go and watch that? Does it get recorded?
That's a really good question, because it's recording into a private community.
Oh,
so
okay.
Technically, you can't see anything that goes on much of anywhere unless you join the community.
I see.
And Aaron is very, very careful about who he lets in. Now, you folks would all be able to come in. It's not a problem. Mm-hmm. But he's very careful that he doesn't have any people just joining because they're joiners, and they really mean and intend to be in the stroke community.
Right. So
he's careful. But we broadcast the event to Facebook Live, and then he reposted it in Facebook, so I can make it available to you in YouTube. Pardon me.
Oh, right on. Perfect.
So it's in both.
Yeah. Would you put a link to that in VCP?
I will be glad to do it. Thank you very much.
Right, because we'd all be interested to see what both you and Aaron are doing. Aaron,
it was fun. It was good.
Yeah, Aaron has joined us a number of times here in the Success Circle, so
he did a really good job for that program.
Oh, good. That's nice to hear. Okay, have I covered everybody? I think I've got everybody. So now some of you may need to know I have my Zoom screen off to the left, and I have to look over there in order to hit that funny little arrow button to make sure I've got everybody. So, all right. So now that we everybody knows who is here, and welcome everyone. I just I wanted to recap. Last week, when we did our first Zoom OBS session, the topic came up at some point, I think because Bill had this lovely upper third, and everybody wanted to know how do you do that, because when we used to use Hangouts, it was it was built in. It was quite easy to do. So we were all interested to know how he did that. So I asked Bill if he would be willing to give us a bit of a presentation. As you can hear, he's way more experienced than I am at this point with Zoom as well as OBS. So because he's part of Andrew Hatchett's user-to-user group, and they've been experimenting with Zoom for quite a while. So, and gaining some understanding of how it all works. So, Bill, thank you so much for in advance for the work that you have done in preparing this. So, over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Lola. And yeah, I'm really excited to share Zoom. It's something that, yes, I learned about from the user-to-user community. And of course, we've been doing a lot of experimenting, trying to break it. We haven't broken it, but we found a lot of things that are really cool about Zoom as we go deeper and deeper into it. But today we're going to, my experience is that the first thing people notice about Zoom is that when you invite them in, I now have 100% connection rate with the people that I want to meet virtually with. And that's a great thing about Zoom. The second thing people notice is the incredible clarity and the great video of Zoom. And usually the third thing people notice is the virtual backgrounds. So today we're going to talk a little bit about virtual backgrounds. And I thought, first of all, I would say, just maybe explain why would we want to use virtual backgrounds. And of course, for most of us here, the obvious reason is to do a little bit of branding, which I was able to do by adding my previously what was my lower third as an upper third. And you do have to be careful. Unlike other platforms where your lower third goes on the bottom and everything is behind it, in Zoom, it's a background. So if you put it on the bottom and your body covers it, it's going to hide it. So I've kind of adapted to that by creating an upper third that I can keep myself under and display it. And I mean, I use upper thirds for branding all the time. When I do tutorials on different sites, I like to create what I call toolbox talks that show people how to get around the different sites and that type of thing. So I can actually create backgrounds that illustrate what I'm doing. But that's not the only thing to use a virtual background for. If I'm talking to people about coming to Belize, I can easily throw up a background of me sitting in front of one of the Mayan ruins. I have several sunset pictures that I like to share of different types. I can be sitting on the beach with my back to the largest reef in the Western Hemisphere. And when I'm talking to my Canadian friends, I could even throw my coat on and be right there in Canada with them. So rather than rub in the warm sunshine, I have lots of options on how I can use and why I would use virtual backgrounds. Another great thing is sometimes you just want to set a mood. And I know some people sit with their desk against the wall and behind their camera is their living room or their kitchen or whatever. And then you've got to run and clean up the house. So I can easily upload myself in a log cabin where now I don't have to worry about what my camera is seeing behind me. If you go to Pixaby, you can download lots of these types of images. You can be sitting in a modern living room, or you can just use them to have fun. I could put my red and white striped hat on and be Waldo today if I really wanted to. And so that's basically the main reason that we would want to use virtual backgrounds. For today, I've created one that's essentially for what we're going to talk about, creating a brand image and activating virtual backgrounds in Zoom. So at this point, unfortunately, with the free account, one of the things I can't do is share a screen share a Zoom in a Zoom. So I had to create a slideshow, and we'll go directly to that. And I'm hoping everyone is seeing my screen.
Yes.
And Lowland, for the video, you may want to go up to the top and just get rid of all of those videos so that everything displays for the people that come in replay or that are watching on the website. But like I said, today we're going to talk about Zoom. I think the first thing we should maybe talk about are some of the technical things. There's a couple of Zoom requirements to use virtual backgrounds. First of all, you will need to create a Zoom account and be signed in to use the virtual background feature. Now, I know there's people that are saying, hey, Bill, I'm already in a Zoom. I must have an account and I must be signed in. But one of the great things about Zoom is that you really don't need to have an account with Zoom or sign in to participate in one of these events. And in the case of this event that we're in, Lowland shared a link. If you simply clicked on the link and came in, you may well not have a Zoom account or be signed into it. The next thing you need to know is that virtual backgrounds aren't available by default. You'll need to go into your settings and actually activate this feature, and we'll go through the steps of how to do that in just a second. The tech things you need to be aware of are, first of all, that you need a solid background. Obviously, a green screen works best. I don't have a green screen. I have basically a green blanket. It's not chroma color green. It's a very light green, but it's a solid background. And for me, it works fairly well. So the other thing to be aware of is when you throw up a background, make sure it's a flat color. Like a shower curtain won't work because it's plasticky and it reflects the light back on the camera and it'll wreak havoc with your virtual background. The other thing to be aware of is with anything in video, the better your lighting is, the better this feature is going to work. And I really don't have adequate lighting, but you can see that my background works pretty well for me. I have two lights out in front lighting me that reduces the resources that my camera need to bring me into the Zoom. But because the lights are in front of me, they cast shadows on my green screen. And sometimes, depending on the type of shirt I wear, it looks like I'm wearing sequins or I got my diamond shirt on. So it's recommended for the best result is have the front lights, but also put a couple of lights up top that strictly light the screen sheen, the green screen, to get rid of any shadows. And then the last thing to be aware of is Zoom's recommended image size. Most images will work in Zoom. Well, all images will work, but a 16:9 ratio image is going to scale the best. And what I mean by that is if you don't load a 16:9 ratio image, Zoom screen is going to blow it up to fit. So if your picture is too narrow, by the time it blows it up to fill the screen width-wise, it's also going to blow up the top and bottom, and you may lose the top and bottom of your image. So they recommend the images be 1280 by 720 or 1920 by 1080. And if you do the math on that, you'll find out that that's a 16:9 ratio. And when you're creating Zoom backgrounds, I like Google Slides and I like Pixlr because I can determine right from the beginning what size my image is going to be, and that image is going to display exactly as I've created it. Okay, so that's the technical stuff. The next thing you're going to want to know is how to actually access virtual backgrounds. So if you go to the lower left-hand corner of your screen in Zoom, you're going to see a little video icon. It'll say stop video if you're sharing your video. There's a little up arrow, and if you click on the up arrow, it's going to open this little pop-up menu. And here, I'll blow that up so we can see it a little better. But at the very bottom, you should see choose a virtual background. Then at that point, if you don't see it, if you see this menu, there's one of three reasons why you don't see the virtual backgrounds. It's either because you don't have an account, you're not signed into your account, or you haven't activated it in Zoom, as I mentioned earlier. So today we're going to walk through all of those steps. The first thing we're going to do is determine whether you're signed in or not. And the way you do that is in Zoom, the Zoom icon will show down in your taskbar. Now, if you don't see your taskbar, it's because your Zoom is full screen. If you simply double click on your Zoom, it'll bring up your taskbar. And then at that point, what you would do is hover over the Zoom icon and it will open these two windows. Okay, the one on the right is going to show you the actual Zoom, and the one in the left is what I refer to as the Zoom scheduler. I don't know if that's technically what they call it, but that's what I call it. So if you're not seeing this little screen, it means that either you don't have an account or you're not signed in. So let's look at getting you in there and doing that. So go back to your Zoom icon. This time you're going to want to right click on it. When you right click on it, this little menu bar is going to pop up. And you have the option to click on Start Zoom. So click on that and it's going to open this screen where you can join a meeting or sign a meeting. Simply click on Sign In and it's going to bring you to the sign in screen. If you don't have an account, you'll go here, click on Sign Up, and it's going to open this screen where you can create your Zoom account. Now, all you need to do, here, I'll make it a little bigger so everyone can see it. I hope it's displaying properly. But simply enter your email address, click on Sign Up, and your account will be created. An even easier way to do it is simply go to the bottom here, click on your Google or Facebook account, and it will create a Zoom account for you based on those settings. And now that you've done that, you've created an account. If you go back to the screen to sign in, you have one of two options. Either you can enter the email address that's associated with your Zoom account, enter the password that you created. You have the option to check the little box and stay logged into Zoom, and simply clicking on sign in will bring you in. The easier way to do this, and the way I always do it, is I just click on sign in with Google and it brings me right into the Zoom. Okay, so now that you've created an account and you've signed in, you should be seeing this little screen if you didn't see it before. Okay, so now you should be able to go back. If you're still seeing this menu and the virtual backgrounds option is still not available, then chances are it's not set up in your Zoom settings. So we're going to quickly walk through how you would do that. You're going to go back to this little window that you're going to hover over in the Zoom icon. If you click on the window, it's going to open it up on your Zoom. This is what I call the Zoom scheduler. It allows you to start a video or create your own video or to schedule a video in advance. If you're already in Zoom, it's probably going to display this way, and it's a handy little window to know about, because if you screen share something or you go to a tab that's on your browser, sometimes it's hard to find the Zoom again and get back to it. An easy way to do it is simply click on the orange button here, and it will bring you right back to the Zoom screen that you're used to seeing. But for today's presentation, I want to talk more about the settings up in the right-hand corner. Simply clicking on the settings here is going to bring you into your general settings for Zoom. Okay, so you're in the general settings. Down that left column, you can see there's a number of options to set up your audio, your video, your virtual background. And I'm mentioning this because this may be confusing at first. You would think that clicking on virtual background would give you access to the virtual background feature and turning it on, but it really doesn't. Where you'll have to go is to the bottom of the screen where it says Enable Advanced Features. Click on Enable Advanced Features. And what's going to happen at this point is your features and your settings are going to open in your browser. Now, don't forget, we talked about earlier how Zoom is not in your browser. It's software that you downloaded to your computer the first time. So it's not just going to pop up on your screen. You're going to have to go down to your Chrome icon, click on it, get back to your browser, and you'll find your settings tab opened in the top of the browser right here. That's where it opened for me. Okay, so now you're in your My Settings. The next thing you're going to want to do is you want to go to In Meeting Advanced. And I'm going to highlight it with a little red box here. Once you find that, you're going to click on it, and it's going to bring you to the In Meeting Advanced section. Now, if you look down about 5 places, here's where you'll find the virtual background option and the toggle switch to turn it on and off. So if your buttons look like the ones in the blue box, then it's off, it's grayed out. Obviously, it hasn't been turned on. To turn it on, all you have to do is click on the button. The button looks like a slider, but it's actually a toggle. So simply clicking on it will turn on and off the virtual background feature. Okay, and now you should be able to go back, click on your little up arrow by your camera icon, and when the pop-up menu pops up, you should see Choose a Virtual Background. Now, to use it, what you'll want to do, simply click on it, and it's going to bring you to this screen. And this can all be done while you're in a Zoom. This screen is not going to transmit to the other people watching. Only you will see this. And what you're seeing is your video in the top. It's not moving because these are screenshots, and I'm the only one in it because I was the only one in the Zoom I had open to do the screenshots. But if you're in a Zoom, if you're in gallery mode, you're going to see everybody's videos up there. So the bottom half is what you'll be working with. It's what I refer to as the media gallery. And here, let's just blow it up a little bit so we can see it better. The first thing you're going to notice in the media gallery is a little square that says none. And if it's not obvious, this is if you don't want a virtual background at all, simply click on none. Whatever virtual background you have on will disappear, and there'll be no virtual backgrounds on. If you have a virtual background up and you want to switch to another one, simply click on the one you want and it'll automatically change. Now, the next thing you'll notice for the first time you go into virtual backgrounds is these 3 images are supplied to you by Zoom. So you can use them to play around with. And yeah, I mean, play around with them and then add your own. If you want to remove an image, simply click on the image you want to remove, click on Remove, and the image will be removed from your virtual background gallery. It's not going to be removed from your local storage, just from the Zoom virtual background. Okay, now the next thing is adding an image. So obviously we would click on Add an Image, and it's going to open our photo files. I have a specific file that I call Zoom Backgrounds that I save all my Zoom backgrounds to. The last photo file you were in Zoom is the file that's going to open. So this one always opens for me. All I need to do is click on the image that I want to bring in, and it will bring it in to the media library, and it also displays it right away. So just be aware that when you click on it, it brings it in and displays it right away. Okay, so that's how you bring an image in. To bring more images in, you can't bring in multiple images at a time. You have to click on Add and bring in each image one at a time, and just upload them one at a time until your media library is filled with all the images you want. Now, we haven't found a maximum for the number of images you can upload to Zoom, but I can tell you that my good friend Andrew Hatchett found that they were a little slow loading when he got to 70. So if you can keep it somewhere around where I'm at 20 to 30, you'll find that your images upload instantly and very quickly. And that's basically all there is to using the virtual backgrounds. Now, I thought just before I stop screen sharing, I would share a couple of links The first one I'm showing here is a Zoom tutorial on using virtual backgrounds. Zoom does a lot of tutorials. If you're interested in learning more about Zoom, they have a lot of videos on their website at the Zoom support videos link. So you can go there. Any question that you can come up with, they've probably done a video on it. The other thing that Zoom does daily, sometimes it's only 2 a day, sometimes it's 4 a day, but they do different Zoom trainings, sometimes in webinar mode, sometimes in meeting mode. And if you want to stay up to date on that stuff, our good friend Andrew Hatchett, that is a co-owner of User to User Live, has created a public calendar where he's listed all of the events. I think he's got them listed up to the middle of February now. Simply clicking on an event will bring you to the registration and allow you to come in. So if you go over to User, you should be able to click on the link and download that calendar to your Google Calendar if you're interested. I hope while you're over there, you'll join the community. And I was speaking to Andrew yesterday, and one of the things that his community does is that they vet people very well. So there's a form that typically people have to sign up. You have to go through a few hoops to get into the group, which is great because it means that only quality people are getting in. But for the next little while, Andrew has agreed that anybody that's a part of the Success Circle community, simply click on the join, ask to join button, and he will let you in without having to fill in the form. So you can bypass some of that stuff. And that's pretty much all I have on using virtual backgrounds. So, I mean, if anybody has any questions, I'd love to try and answer your questions, and then maybe we'll just do a short screen share on how to actually create an image.
Well, certainly before questions, I really want to give an enthusiastic shout out to Andrew for offering that that little workaround for all of us that are usual members here. So I really appreciate that.
Well, that's a testament to you, Lolan, because as Andrew indicated to me, he's comfortable doing that because you also vet your people very well. And that's something that I think is very important for communities. So he recognizes the fact that you do that as well. And that's why he's willing to make that little exception for this community.
So I would like really to thank you for that presentation. That was super great.
Well, thank you. I know I'm speaking a little fast, but
no,
we can
it's
always
okay.
go back. We can always go back to YouTube and slow me down to half speed and follow it again.
No, it was, I took notes, and as you see, I have already the background on. So my question now, what is the flickering? What is it dependent on the lights, or that my background is not really even?
Yeah, you don't have a solid background, which is going to wreak a little bit of havoc. And again, the better your lighting is, I mean, you have front lights, I can tell. But sometimes that little bit of flickering, I mean, this shirt that I wear sometimes flickers. It looks like all the white lines have diamonds in them. Makes me feel kind of rich. But like I said in the thing, if you put some lights up on top to actually, you know, when you
now I saw, you can see when you do that, you can see something happening.
Yeah, and that's because I'm creating shadows behind me. So if I were to put some lights up on top of the screen, lighting the screen to eliminate those shadows, then it would be perfect.
Okay, what does solid screen mean? Mine is a little bit, I don't know how do I get out of the virtual background? The same
simply
way?
go into your virtual background and click none in the upper left-hand corner. And I'm going to do that, and you can see that I have a blanket that's hanging over the window behind me. It's kind of a rough textured material. It's not shiny, so it's not reflecting light back. You can see how my lighting is. It's not perfect because I've got my butterfly wings on from the shadows. But all in all, it works pretty well for me. And one of the other things you can do, is go into your camera settings and just play with the exposure and the contrast a little bit. And a lot of times that will also improve the result of it.
That I can try, but I have these sort of waves because it's a normal curtain. Do you
Right.
think if I succeed, I don't know how, to straighten it out, that would already resolve it?
It'll help a lot because all of those little curves are creating little shadows. Also, where you're probably getting the flickering is on the left side of your screen, or the left side to us, because you've got flowers and other things there that really are part of you. Yeah.
And this light is not on today. That normally comes from here, so I have to just check.
So you basically want to have, as solid a background as possible. Like in my case, again, if I show it, it's a blanket that covers my whole screen.
Okay.
And those couple of little things, will make your virtual background pop and stand out.
Yes, Heidi, you instead of needing to put real flowers, you could put flowers in your virtual background.
Exactly. And one of the things that Lowell Ann is demonstrating right now is you want to make sure that your shirt is not the same color as your background. Otherwise, your shirt acts as a green screen as well, and you become literally a talking head.
Look at that. So I will go and get rid of that.
Pay attention not to drown. That's a lot of water behind you.
Well, and I'm sure she just did it so that we could explain that effect today.
No, she didn't. She just went in to demonstrate that it's easy to get there.
Yeah.
Yes, I need to give greater thought to my choice of colors on Tuesday mornings. Obviously, from here on in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, any other questions about Zoom itself and getting in and creating? Okay, Roland, I see you waving.
Yeah, I have had no success. I'm already a Zoom member, or I have a basic account. I do not have the paid account, but as Andrew Hatchett says, the free account should allow us this. So I'm in the free account, and I did all the adjustments the way
I know
Bill
where you're
said.
going with this. You turned it on and you still don't have it. Is that where you're going?
Yeah, and I re-entered the Hangout.
My apologies. I missed that in my presentation. I don't have a script, so I may have missed a couple of things. But yes, one of the things that's important to know is that when you do turn on the virtual background, you will have to sign out of your account and re-sign in for it to activate. Okay, so you probably have to leave the Zoom, sign out, and I mean like literally go into the Zoom icon, exit it, then come back in, and it will be activated. So yeah, I'm sorry. I hope that's the only thing I missed, but yeah, that's kind of key to know that when you do activate it, you have to leave and come back, sign out of Zoom and sign back in.
So while we're on the topic of the Zoom account and all of that, something that I think was important for me to share is that if you like using Zoom and you download the Chrome extension for Zoom, it will put into your Google Calendar the choice of opening a Zoom meeting. So in order to make it easier, like if you find you want to use it with clients or whatever. Yeah.
And I believe that's called the Zoom Scheduler app in Chrome. I didn't go into that today because there's literally hundreds of features in Zoom, and we could be here for 3 days. But that's a handy thing to know.
It is really it's really nice. I mean, I've already used it with a client to have it there and to be able to send an invitation, and the link is right there.
Yeah.
And just offhand, I tried that, Bill, and no love yet.
Well,
I have a
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
sorry. I have a question. More than a question. It's what I saw, because I have actually screen captured the warning that I saw. So
Right.
if you don't mind, I can screen share it and show it and maybe ask a question. I really don't know. So
Go ahead.
yeah, okay.
And while we wait's doing that, Roland, what's the problem you're still having? Do you actually have it in the menu?
No, the menu has not revived.
So this is the warning I got. I'm actually have opened the screen capture in a photo editing software, and this is the warning I got. Your
Oh.
processor, Intel i5
Yeah.
2.3 gigahertz, does not meet our recommended specification for virtual background. And this is the button I was talking about, enable this feature anyway. So
Right.
I clicked that,
And I really can't speak to that, WeWake. I mean, we've had many people experimenting with this with us, and nobody has ever encountered that. It seems to imply, and I don't know what you're using for a device, but it seems to imply that your software is not at their minimum standard. But this is literally the first time I've ever seen that, so I really can't add that. But if you go to the Zoom, there's a little chat box in the lower right-hand corner. Somebody would come on and deal with that with you live. And I can honestly tell you that their customer support is impeccable. I've never waited more than 20 seconds for somebody to come and deal with my question.
okay. Yeah.
There's somebody else waving. Who is that?
That's Alana.
Alana.
First of all, I want to say thank you very much, Bill, for that great presentation of Zoom. You did a great job.
Thank you.
The other thing I wanted to say regarding Roland's issue is I'm wondering if the reason he can't see his background is because he doesn't have a solid color background. I didn't bother trying to set this up now because I can see my background is a door and a couple of pictures.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's Roland's issue as well.
Well,
And
if
no,
he's
it's not.
seeing it in his menu, then his issue is either that he doesn't have an account, or he's not signed in, or he hasn't activated it and restarted the Zoom. Those are the only three issues that would prevent you from using a virtual background.
I've had an account for a long time. I am signed in. I have restarted. I checked out, came back in, and I also checked out of the video production and came back in. So I've checked everything that I can think of.
Okay,
but
well,
it's not working.
those are literally the only three things to stop you, unless there's maybe something on your end. I don't know whether it's, blocking that or whatever. But again, what I would suggest is if you're interested in using virtual backgrounds, go to the chat feature in Zoom and simply ask the question, because I've never seen anybody not be able to activate it. Now, Alana, you are correct. I mean, even if Roland gets it up, chances are the Zoom background is not going to display with the background that he has behind him right now. It's too, maybe a little bit too bright, and it's got too much stuff happening. It's
right.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
For that point, I think I would say yes, because for me, even though it gave me that warning, right behind me is just a plain blank wall.
Which is fine, because your plain blank wall is a solid color.
Yeah.
So it should work, but you might consider lighting.
Yeah.
I can tell your lighting is not great.
Yeah, I know.
So that might be why the resources of your camera are going beyond what Zoom will allow.
Can I? Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead, Heidi.
Can I ask again where you found the button to ask support?
Um,
In the website, lower right.
In the website. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Mhm.
yeah, right on the lower right. If you click,
Yeah, okay. I thought it would be here on the window, but it's not. Okay, good.
I don't know how we are for time, Lolan, but if you want to
We've still got about 10 minutes. So I think we're all really interested to see how to do that.
Okay, well, let me screen share a slideshow presentation. Well, it's not a presentation, it's just going to be a blank slide, and we will create a virtual background. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. And Lolan, I'll maybe get you to help me out with this. Why don't we create an upper third for you with your branding colors?
Perfect.
But before we do that, what you're going to want to do is, and I hope everybody can see my little exploding circle. But if you go to the top left and click on File, the first thing you're going to want to do is come to the bottom, click on Page Setup, and create the size of the image you want. I have a custom setup. You can click on 16:9, but if you go in to the custom settings and you change that to pixels rather than centimeters, you'll see that the default size for 16:9 is 960 by 540. So you're probably going to want to go into custom.
Sorry.
You probably want to go into custom and actually create the size, one of the two sizes that Zoom recommends. So I believe that's 1280. Oh, 1280. Numbers are important. 1280 by, what is it, 720?
720, yes. I wrote it down.
And again, make sure you have pixels selected here. And now when you download this image, when you're done, it will download in that size. So let's start with a background, because Zoom is using virtual backgrounds. In the old Google Hangouts, we used to create transparencies because we just wanted the lower third to show at the front. But here we want to actually create a background. So I'm going to ask you for your help, Lolan. I'm going to go down here to the bottom. Well, here, let me just go right back to the beginning. If you click on background at the top, which I've already passed, it's going to open this window. If you go here, you can choose color. You can choose one of their generic colors. Or if you go to custom at the bottom, you can actually upload the custom colors that you've selected for your website. So do you know off the top of your head what your purple is, Lolan?
Funny you should ask. 76007A.
76007A. We're going to click OK. And we now have a custom, but once I click on done, we have Lolan's custom background color. Okay, so now we want to add an upper third in this case. I'm going to go up to the top here, click on shapes. We can go into shapes. They have a number of shapes. Oh, you have to click on it. There's a number of shapes you can pick from square to whatever, square, round, whatever. For our purposes today, I think we'll go down to callouts, and let's just select a little banner. Okay, so now I've selected it. I don't know if you can see that menu, but it is there. And we're going to actually create a cool little banner. What color would you like your banner to be, Lolan?
White.
White?
Yeah.
Oh, how convenient. Okay, so now we have the white banner, and we can adjust the size of that. If you want to make it a little longer, simply go over to the center of it, and you can stretch it out, make it a little longer. This little centerpiece, if you want it to be a little bit bigger so you can add a bit more text, go to the little yellow circle here, drag it over, and you can adjust. You can actually adjust and create the banner that you would like. You can go here to the yellow circle here and drag that up and down and either have a flat banner, or I kind of like having a little bit of, oh, I made it too small. Don't forget, undo is always your friend. I kind of like, keeps making it smaller on me.
What software are you using, Bill?
This is Google Slides.
Okay.
So yeah, everybody has Google. Pretty much everybody should have Google Slides, I think. All right, I'm going to go back and start from the beginning because it's not letting me do what I want to do. And just a matter of hitting delete. Let's go back up here to the shapes icon.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to open it. I'm going to go down to callouts. I'm going to pick a callout, and you can play with these and see which one you like the best. Now I'm going to open it. I'm going to make it a little wider again. And yeah, again, we can drag it down and make that ribbon a little bit more pronounced. But anyway, we've got our banner. I'm going to move it up to where we would want it. I'm going to actually maybe make the written portion of it a little bit bigger so that we have a bit more room. Okay, then from here, I've got my banner. I'm going to go back to the top and I'm going to click on the text box here. And I'm going to add 2 text boxes. First one I'm going to add is for Lowland's name. And in there, I'm going to type Lowland. Excuse my rented fingers. I hope I've spelt that right, Lowland.
You have.
Very good. And now what we can do is, first of all, we'll select the font we want. So what font would you like that in?
Cookie.
I should have known that. Okay. Then we can go here to our font size and we'll blow that up. Right now it's at 14. I'm going to try 30 just arbitrarily. That looks like, well, let's go to 36. I mean, it is Lowland's name. So here we go. Make it a little bigger. And what I like to do is I like to go to this box, which is in the alignment box. And then I can click here and center it horizontally. And if I go back there and click on the little arrows here, I can center it vertically. Okay, and now we've got the name. And we may want to go back and readjust that stuff a little bit when we're all done. Here, actually, I'm going to click on it right now, and I'm going to use my up arrow to just move that up a little bit to the top of the banner. Now we're going to add another text box, maybe a little smaller than that. And what would you like to have for a tagline?
Lowland.com.
Okay, so here we go with Lowland.
No caps.
Work with me, Lowland. I'll work with you. Okay, so it's Lowland.com. And again, we'll go in and we'll size that appropriately. Oh, what font do you want for that one?
Probably not Cookie. Verdana.
Okay, we're going to select Verdana font. We're going to go here to the font size, and let's probably 30 would look good there. I don't know, it looks a little big, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And the size you choose will depend obviously on the font you choose. So we're going to leave it at that size, I think, just to speed things up a little bit. What color would you like that a different color?
I don't know. I mean, normally if I had the white background, I would just use the purple.
Okay, well, let's go here to...
Because you've probably got it already in there now.
Yeah, we'll go here to text color. Now that I've added custom color, I can simply click on it, and Lowland's name will become her branded purple. The last thing I want to do is I want to go back to my align button, and I'm going to center it horizontally. I'm going to click, I'm going to click on it again and center it vertically. And I'm going to just reduce the box a little bit. And this is handy to do because what you can do is actually click on that button, and when you move it around, it'll show you when it's centered. I don't know if you saw the little red lines, but they were actually centered. And just as a little extra thing, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to upload an image of Lowland. And because I've done something for Success Circle before, I actually have an image of Lowland that I put into Pixlr, and I created a transparency of it. So what I mean by that is Lowland's profile has a background behind it. I put it into Pixlr, got rid of the background, and created a transparency. So there is no background on this image. And what I would do first thing here is I'm going to go to the crop tool up here at the top, and I'm going to just crop her image down a little bit so we don't have all that dead space around it. I'm going to crop it right up to the flat spot where her shirt ends or begins. Maybe right there. And then I'll crop it in a little bit on the side. And when I click off of it, I now have Lowland's transparency that's cropped down to the size I want. And at this point, I can go back and just grab the lower left-hand corner or one of the corners and resize that image. And then I'm going to move it up to her banner. Now, obviously, I'm going to want to move all of that down. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to hold my Shift key. I'm going to select on the banner. I'm going to select on her image. I'm going to select on her two text boxes. Now that I've selected all of that stuff while I was holding down the Shift key, I can move that whole thing in uniform. Okay, I can move it around. And at this point, I mean, I would probably go back and do a few minor adjustments, you know, maybe narrow up the banner a little bit. I think it would look better if Lowland was looking into the screen rather than, you know, if she was facing in rather than out. So I'm going to go up here to Arrange. And when I click on Arrange, if I go down to Rotate, it will allow me to flip that image horizontally. And now I can move it over a little bit. And it fits on Lowland's banner. It actually looks kind of nice. The image is above the banner. It gives it a bit of a 3D look. And I mean, creating an upper third or a lower third is actually that simple. The last thing to be aware of is now that you've created it, you're going to want to download that to your local computer. So go to File, click on File. Down just below the middle, you're going to see Download As. I typically download background images as JPEGs, especially if I've already got them sized to the right size. You'll find that a JPEG takes a little less space on your drive than a PNG does. And then I just simply download it to my local drive, wherever I want it. The last thing I would show you is you can use this feature also to create a lower third. So if you're going to continue to use Google or some of those other platforms, go back here, select the entire thing. Make sure you select the banner, Lowland's image. You'll probably use your own image. Put your name and whatever tagline you want. Then at that point, you can move that to the bottom. My internet isn't cooperating that much. Excuse me. Now that you have it at the bottom, simply click off the slide. If you go to the top, you'll see background, go into background, go to the color feature again, but this time click transparent. And that's going to show you, that's when you, once you click done, that will give you a lower third that's actually on a transparency. When you see it in your picture, it's going to have a little blue and white square checkerboard that implies that it's a transparency in the back. The only difference with downloading a transparency is when you download and you go into file up here and you go to download, you'll want to be aware that transparencies need to be downloaded as PNGs for them to work. So simply click on PNG and it'll download it into the file you want. And then from there, open your virtual backgrounds in Zoom and upload it. And that's basically all there is to, oh, I'm sorry. There was one more thing I wanted to share in there. So I'm going to go back there if you don't mind. Is everybody able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. And the two, I typically use Google Slides because I love Google Slides for doing presentations and that type of thing. Another one that I've used lately that I really like is Pixlr. And if you want to experiment with Pixlr, I'm going to go to present here so everybody can see this. Creating an upper or lower third with Pixlr. Pixlr is spelled Pixlr. And there's the link to the Pixlr software. It's free software that'll upload on your browser. Don't just go to pixlr.com. If you use this actual link with the /editor/, it'll bring you right to the Pixlr editor. And I want to thank my friend Michael Daniels who turned me on to Pixlr. It does some really great things. If you want to know how to use Pixlr to create a lower third, I'd recommend going over to Michael's channel. He's got a YouTube video there. The link is there, and I'll share all of these links into the VCP for anybody who's watching in replay. But he's got a great video there on how to create a lower third in 5 minutes. And I don't know if anybody timed me, whether I beat him or not creating an upper third, but both were pretty quick. And the last thing I would say is I love helping people out and sharing what I've learned about OBS, about Zoom, about Pixlr, all of that stuff. So if I can help you, my email address is there. Certainly reach out to me via email or on my Google account or any way you would like to. And I would love to share what I know about this stuff. It's a way of paying forward all of the stuff that I've learned from people over the past, like Michael Daniels and Andrew Hatchett. And I think if we can pay that stuff forward, it might help somebody else to create a great background image for themselves.
And I couldn't agree more, Bill. The sharing that happens is truly amazing. I'm just amazed at that. One of the things that I was going through my mind as you were creating that was, when you do some of those things within Word or any of those other things, you have to click them all and then sort of connect them all. And it didn't seem to be the case in the slide situation. So that and
I left all of the layers separate. I mean, when I clicked on the banner and your two text boxes and your image, I could have actually gone up to arrange and clicked on group, and it would have made all of that stuff one grouping.
Oh.
So, I mean, that is an option, but again, I didn't go
Okay.
through all of the features, just
Right.
what
Okay.
it already turned into a 15-minute thing that was supposed to be 5 minutes, so I apologize.
So I saw somebody waving, and I was that you, Fred?
You're muted in Zoom, Fred.
Yes, it was. And I just wanted to congratulate Bill. Bill, that was one of the best presentations I've seen. You put a lot of work into that. That wasn't just seamless. That was an enormous amount of work. Having done presentations online, I know exactly what you did. I really want to congratulate you. And I'm sure this will be very valuable because of what you've just shown us. So thank you very, very much. I'm very
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Fred. Yeah, Yeah, a bit of work goes into it, but I figure it's going to be out there for a while.
Yep.
And I know maybe the Zoom tutorial was a little oversimplified for some people, but we don't know who's going to watch in replay or who might be out there watching now. So,
But I have to leave. I have another meeting I'm a bit late for now, but I just wanted to say that before I left. So thank you very much for everyone, and particularly Bill. That was outstanding. In my
thank you very much for saying so, Fred.
Right.
Bye for now. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Fred. So I certainly echo that loudly and clearly. Yeah, I know there's a lot of work there, but it was. I don't know whether everybody else feels the same way, but I'm sure you must. I just learned a huge amount in this short period. So I'm looking at our time. It's 10:12, and just want to give an opportunity for anyone to ask a final quick question before we zoom out of here, and that means that everyone will need to mute themselves as we go out.
Only thing I would say is I just saw Roland successfully using a virtual background, so that's a good that proves what Bill was saying earlier. So yeah.
And I'm sure WeWake is not saying that if we taught Roland, we can teach anyone.
No.
Thank you for that clarification. It got a little complicated, and the guy on the support team had to walk me through some stuff, but we figured it out.
Very good. I'm glad you found it.
Oh, and you got the support team that quickly. Ooh, that's wonderful. And anything else before I hit the outro button?
Only to say that thank you very much, Bill. It was I want to add to that. It was a very good presentation.
My pleasure, guys. I'm glad everybody got something from it.
Absolutely. I want to echo that. It was really, really great, and it merits to be seen by many, many, many people. So we should share that.
Yeah, one of the things I liked was Bill's photo, looking at the things and fingers and hands and.
So I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I put a bit of thought into some of that stuff, and that's what I love doing. My passion now is creating presentations in all different forms. So yeah, some people don't have the patience for that. Some people, I like seeing the finished product. And sometimes it takes you 2 days to get a 15-minute presentation, or sometimes just a 12-second presentation.
You're becoming a master at screenshotting.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So thanks again, Bill. And so I invite our members to please mute yourselves as we do the outro. And please do stick around for some follow-up conversation. So this is Lowland. Saying bye for now and into the outro.
Bye, guys.